they're about to be in some trouble. I don't know why I decided to open it up like that today. Hey guys, welcome back to the Daily Dose with Des. Y'all already know I'm Des. And I am still under the weather, but I am here. And I don't know why. I decided that I go live on Thursdays. We already know this. But this Thursday, my boy's home. So of course I'm in my Steelers shirt, little sweater. So yeah, it actually shrank a little bit. Probably because it's a boy's size shirt, but it shrank a little bit. But actually I like it like this because I don't have to wear, like, if you wash your hands a lot and let me just hush. That's my sick brain talking. But nonetheless, welcome back to the Daily Dose. Today is Thursday Throwdown. And because I'm sick, it will not be a long show. I know I say that every time I get on here, but you know what? You should already know who I am by now. Okay? You should already know who I am, what I do, how I operate. You should already know. Go. Stuff like it's coming back. It don't matter. Okay? I'm going to try to stay focused. I don't know what I was just trying to say. My brain was moving too fast. I'm going to try to stay focused. I'm not going to look over there. Okay? I think maybe I'll start with... No, it's going to have to be football games. Because I think I can call them better with football games. So, I was given the idea like a few days ago. They were like, Des, why don't you just do like... Because there's a Dolphins channel on here. And I'm veering off for a second. Just stay with me. There is a Miami Dolphins fan page. And, of course, they can't stream the game, like live stream, because they don't want their account taken or whatever. But they do like commentary, like color commentary. And they have like a scoreboard on there. They give you like stats and things. And I obviously would need another person because I literally produce and do all this myself. So I would need another person that wants to do this, and we can do like games. I don't know if I should do like just any NFL games or if I should just start another channel and do like strictly Pittsburgh games. I'm not really sure. I haven't really gotten that far yet. But I think it is a good idea. And I'm going to bite a piece of what they do. So if you are a person that is looking to like executive produce a show, or you want to do more live commentating, you want to do color commentating, if you want to just get into all this, please hit my DM. I'm always open. I am always open for people to work with me and all those other things. And before I run the intro, I do want to announce, I'm going to be putting up there, that I will be weekly working with Greenville Sports Media, and I will be doing their college game day football show. I was on last night, which is why I did the show early because I had to hop off. But I don't really usually do Wednesdays, so Wednesdays I'll be doing that instead. So I am going to be doing new things. What is delayed? What is denied is not delayed. If you guys don't know my experience that I've had with other network, I'm not even going to get on there and talk about it right now. Because guess what? Their loss is someone else's gain. And please understand, there's always something else waiting for you. There's always something else bigger for you. There's always something or someone else who sees something in you that will get you on the path that you need to get. This has only been 3 years in, guys. We're only in on 3 years, and this is year 1 for this show, this podcast. So we're doing it. We're making waves. We're doing what we need to do. And I guarantee you will see this pretty platform in a lot of other spaces in due time. And I promise you, we're going to get where we need to be. Okay? We're going to get there. Okay? I'm going to roll my introduction video. Please make sure you're hitting that like button. Please make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. Please make sure, what I want you to comment your favorite team. I don't care what team it is. It could be a hockey team. It could be a basketball team, an NHL team. It could be college, professional, anything. Hell, it could be Little League. Comment the team or something. I really need all the stuff helping me get this community going. So let's go ahead and dive on into it. And you know what I have to do. And I'll be right back after this. Admit it. Turn it loud. Got you feeling so proud. This is how we do it now. Daily Dose with this. Got you coming back for more. Welcome back. Pittsburgh had such a good drive that it ended in a field goal. Why I turned this on, y'all? Why did I turn this on? People always ask me like, you don't like watching when Pittsburgh plays, and I'm like, no, no, because they stress me out. No, they stress me out. Something smooth, something crazy, you know. But it don't matter. All right, let's hop into these topics. So I'm not here all night. I know how I like to get. I like the chit chat and chatty talk. I do. I have to start letting you guys get to know me a little bit. I remember I said this and I just like stopped doing it. If you're ever wondering how did I become a Pittsburgh fan, why am I a Pittsburgh fan, whatever, I always get that question. I always get asked like, you're a Pittsburgh fan? Like, yeah. The heck, you're a Bengals fan? You know, you're a Jaguars fan? But no shade to nobody else. Okay, nobody else. But I grew up as a Steelers fan. So my grandmother, she's a little crazy because she was a Miami Dolphins fan. She was a Miami Dolphins fan for as long as I could remember. For the longest time, I had Dolphin stuff everywhere, and I think that's why I love that teal, that blue. Just, oh my God, it's just so beautiful and so gorgeous. Because when she used to wear it, it used to look so good on her. And God rest her soul. But I grew up watching Pittsburgh. When Ben Roethlisberger hit the scene, that was my quarterback. That was the very first quarterback I've ever known. Troy Polamalu, I grew up learning about, Jerome Bettis, the bus, and just all the greats, with Pittsburgh. And I became a Pittsburgh fan. I didn't see Miami. I didn't grow up watching Miami. I only grew up with seeing my grandma wear the Miami Dolphins memorabilia or paraphernalia, or whatever you want to say. So I never actually wanted to be a Dolphins fan because I knew nothing about the Dolphins, but she taught me about Pittsburgh, taught me about the Steelers, so she was also a Steelers fan. And that's something to me that I felt as though, like, when she passed away, that was just like, I could never, ever not be a Pittsburgh fan because, like, she's not about to come down from the heaven above and slap me in the back of my neck because I decided to turn the other cheek and support. So I support other teams, but I am a fan, so I would never, ever, ever, like, denounce Pittsburgh, no matter how many times they upset me, how many, like, anxiety attacks I have within a matter of one game, hell, within one quarter, because that's just not what I know. That's just not who I am. I grew up, with this fan base. I grew up just bleeding the black and yellow, so that's just what I know. And then I was even more of a fan when I went to my very first home Pittsburgh game, and I actually went by myself. No. That was the second time I went by myself. My first time I went with someone, and it was around my birthday, and I was like, I don't know how to go by myself, but I had purchased 2 tickets because I was supposed to go with someone else. And they came with me, but I felt like I was by myself because he wasn't a Pittsburgh fan. He just was like, it's your birthday, I'm gonna drive you up there. I don't want you to be like driving by yourself or whatever. So I'm gonna come with you, and he was my battle. And I was just there, and I just felt like amazing. I remember so vividly. I had literally, my seat was in the 6th row from the middle, so I was right in the middle of the action, and it was supposed to be cold, but it ended up being very hot. And I had on this, like, I don't even know what they're called, but it was like an overlay thing, and it was Pittsburgh, and I had on all black underneath. I had on black boots, and I was like, bro, I was burning up. I was burning up. Okay. But I had so much fun, and I just felt so at home. Literally, I just felt so at home. And then the second time I went, I was by myself, and I went to the club level because I'm a club level baddie. I've said this before. And I was by myself, guys. And I guess the people who own those seats, like the one person sold their ticket to me, and I obviously didn't know, so I ended up being with them. And then I said they treated me like family. It was like, whoa, like, oh my God, I've never felt like this before. And I've worked with plenty of football teams, just being a worker and seeing how things work. But me being there with them, I'm like, this is amazing. I see why I'm a fan. I'll always be a fan. I like those are my family. Like, they looked out for me. They made sure that my stuff was still there. It was super duper cold because it was a December game, so... Hello, honey. That Pittsburgh coat is something completely different. Okay? Completely different. I had on a jersey with a jacket, and my jacket it was a Serpa. So I had the stuff in the inside. I was cold. I was cold as fuck. I had on sneakers. I didn't have on my boots this time. I had on sneakers. I was super duper cute, but I was super duper cold. I had a scarf. it just was not working out. I was just freezing the whole time. They even bought me a drinky drink and everything. So we had a really, really good time. And I was like, these are my people. You know, you just find your people. You're like, yes, these are people. So yeah, that's something about me. Why I'm a Pittsburgh fan and why I will always love them and go so hard for them. And they're always near and dear to my heart. Again, you know, I love other players and other teams. I definitely support, but I will always be a Pittsburgh fan till the day that I die. And hopefully there's no time soon. I love you. Okay, but getting into what we came to get into, I guess I should... we're going to start off with some basketball. So, women's basketball, college basketball in general, but women's basketball put out their AP poll top 25 for this upcoming season. I don't think there's much to debate here. This is very early, very beginning, and as you see, this came out the 14th. As they're gearing up to go into the preseason and all of that. So I think that when I'm looking at this, I definitely think that the top two rows are obviously the most accurate. UConn being at the top, obviously, because they are the champions here. South Carolina, I feel like they will always be up there because just the program, the respect, the history, and the talent that they have in that program is always going to be like top notch up there. And then UCLA, obviously we saw what UCLA did. Texas is always one of those teams where it's like, don't sleep on them. Had your eyes wide open. Y'all know I love me some Coach Carter over there. So, Texas has a whole thing. LSU is just, they've been where they've been for the past years because they've been. That's all I can say. LSU been because they've been. That's just how it is. Kim over there and them Tigers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the other teams on there, obviously Duke, I said this before, talking about Duke women's basketball. And I said the women's basketball program has come a really long way. And they're trying to be, top tier staples there. So their women's basketball team has done some amazing things. Same with Carolina. I think, and I got to say which Carolina's, Chapel Hill. Because look at those programs, the athletes that they have bred, athletes that they have gone out and had, and the success that they've had, just like Maryland. I think Maryland has had some amazing success. I love seeing NC State girls play. I have to admit, I've only actually seen them play when they've played either Clemson or Georgia Tech, but it's always been a good competitive game with them. I think that the Wolfpack fans are some of the best college fans in terms of just like being consistently supportive. I don't know if it's their parent base, like their parents, travel everywhere with them. I'm not really sure, but I love the way that they just like show up for them. It doesn't matter if there's 10 of them. It doesn't matter if there's 200 of them. The way that they are so like literally packed together, I think that speaks volumes for that team, for that program. I just do, especially for women's basketball. I saw the way they maneuvered and how they showed up for their women's basketball team. So that's why I'm actually saying that. And I think Notre Dame with head coach Ivy, I think that's their team has been respectful enough to be in that top 25. I don't really see any issues with this top 25 here. I think we have a baby team there at 25. But I think that a lot of the teams that are here are teams that rightfully kind of earned their spot to have at least this preseason. We think you're going to have a great season in the top 25. They did lose players. Obviously, they lose players every year, either due to injury. I know, USC, both USCs are facing injuries with Juju and Chloe Kitts being out for their seasons. So, you lose people to obviously the draft. UConn has lost Paige. And, lots of just different things that are happening and going on. But I think these programs are still going to lead up, and I think they're going to still play to their standard. And I'm really, really excited to see what they do coming into the season. Y'all know this, for the past 3 years, I've been really harped on women's basketball on the collegiate level. So I am super duper excited to get this thing rolling. I'm trying to get back at Clemson. I actually do love the Clemson's women's basketball team. I love those girls. I loved them last year. Last season, I was covering them, and I ended up having issues like with my car and everything, so I actually couldn't get there. But like, I really hope that they just let me back in because I'm just such a fan. I was such a fan of those young ladies and just the team they're trying to build, and I just would love to be back to covering them. So cross your fingers for your girl that I can be back there. I hope nothing. I just seen my camera do like a little thing. I don't know what the heck's going on there. Looks like the Bengals are about to score. That's okay. Pittsburgh's already up by 10. So I guess they can get a little sale. Anyway, how did I go? No, I skipped. I'm sorry. I put it up there. We're going to go back here. Okay, so there is about to be 3 different stories that are including head coaches and basketball programs. This is on the men's side. As y'all know, the men can't never get right. I feel like the men's basketball has had issues and problems for forever. We talked about Memphis basketball before. We've talked about just so many different basketball programs having things going on. They just can't get right. You don't see a lot of the drama with the women's basketball. You don't see, the mistreatment of coaches, the gambling, the cheating. The girls get right, okay? But these next 3 stories are about solely men's basketball. So let's get into it. Who do I want to get into first? I had to make sure I put all their names there. We're gonna go with Billy. Billy no goat. All right, let me stop playing. This is Billy, and he is the head coach, or he's now been reinstated as the head coach at Tarleton State after there was a review done for him having employee basically misconduct. So he had an employee conduct review, and for a while he was out of there, and they said, you know what, we're gonna let you back. We're gonna let you back. You may have did something. And you also may have paid some people off, but now you're here. I don't know, y'all. I'm not playing with y'all. That's allegedly, okay? But I am going to give y'all the facts of where this came from and where I'm pulling it from, so y'all don't just think I'm just pulling stuff out my ass, okay? So let me pull up Billy. Where's Billy at? No, that's women's basketball. Okay, so it says that he was reinstated as the head basketball coach after a review of an anonymous employee complaints. The university placed him on administrative leave on October the 4th, 2025, so that was literally 2 weeks ago, but reinstated him on October the 6th after the Texas A&M system completed its review. No details of the nature of the complaint have been released. So it says, Billy here, he wasn't going to say nothing anyway. And of course, the university is not going to, say, they're not going to try to give us the nature of the report because maybe they feel like it was BS, but I feel like if you feel like it was BS and it was, if it wasn't something that was major or anything, anyway, why not just let us know if you're letting us know that you actually reinstated him. But in his 5 seasons, he is 78-74. And it says the 2023-2024 season saw the team achieve a record 25 wins in the program's Division I era. So obviously they know that he's good for this program. They know that even though he only has 4 more wins than losses, that season 2023-2024, he's really great in that Division I area. They feel like he is their guy. They want him to be there, and when I think about employee conduct, usually, like when we go back to Michigan, and when they got rid of that coach up there, before employee conduct, that was usually because he had an inappropriate relationship with a member somewhere on staff or some type. If it was a student, he definitely would have been out of there. But it was some type of inappropriate relationship is what I'm gathering and what I'm thinking that it is. And again, that's just my opinion, what my thoughts are. But, he's coming back. At first they said that he resigned as the Red Raiders coach, citing health concerns in September 2012. What are we talking about? Initially came in. Okay, I guess he used to go somewhere else and he had health concerns. I don't know why. Like when you read some of these articles that are, this is, and that was an ESPN article that I just read. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like that has nothing to do with his current reinstatement. Like nothing to do with that. I'm so sorry that I read that to y'all. Okay, y'all know I like to state my opinion and spread the facts. Y'all know that I like to do that, but again, whatever he did, they say he didn't do it. They say he didn't do it. That's all we got. And they said basketball is right around the corner. We don't got no time to be playing these games with y'all. If you want to accuse him of something, we need more evidence. Because right now we have enough. Okay? So, he didn't do it. And he got his job back. Good thing that he didn't resign. Okay? Because then that would have been bad for them. They would have been trying to get him back. And they was going to have to give him a bag. Yeah. Wagner. It says here, Wagner College's men's basketball coach, Donald Copeland, has reportedly been suspended amid allegations of player abuse. Now, this is just funny because when I was trying to find a picture of him, where I typed his name into the thing, and why did I take so many pictures of him and he looked like he's angry, upset, or he's yelling or something? I don't know if that was done on purpose. I'm not really sure. But when people recycle the photo from before for their article to explain why he's suspended or whatever, they always try to use the most worst photos. I'm like, he ain't smiling in not one of them photos. At least in the very first page, when you go to look at photos, he not really smiling. He's either standing like how he's standing here. He got a mug on his face. He not having it. He's not having it. But we're going to read a little bit about this too, because they're saying this is serious. If we're talking about player abuse, are they talking about verbal abuse? Are they talking about, physical abuse, mental abuse? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like with sports in general, I'm not even going to hold y'all. I feel like when it comes to sports in general, there's always a little bit of abuse. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm not condoning none of that, okay? But I'm saying I feel like it is a little bit of abuse, right? People could say, and I talked about it a little bit yesterday, people could say that you're emotionally abusing them because that you say something to them that they don't personally like, and they say that's abuse. People could say that. People could say, well, he made me do extra laps around the field because, and they don't never tell you why, but they'll say, he constantly makes me do extra laps around the field. I'm always the only one, and I'm being targeted, and that's abusive, right? But the back end is like, well, if you stop showing up late to practice, I wouldn't have to make you run. So, I feel like with a little bit of, there's just things that, people can look at and say that that's abusive. There are really cases where people are really being abused. And I think that sometimes we put out, I'm going to say we, but sometimes it is put out. Oh, no. We're turning it off. Everybody just threw a pick. I'm turning it off. I got distracted. Anyway, sometimes when people are saying that things are abusive or things are toxic or whatever, and it's not actually that, it kind of overshadows when the actual abuse is going on. Now, I'm not saying that it's right or it's wrong. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying that what he's doing is exactly what he's doing. All this is alleged, obviously, because these are just allegations, but he has been suspended for these reported allegations, right? So I'm going to read to you a little bit of where I'm getting this information from. So there has been several players who has detailed verbal abuse from Copeland. And again, like I said, if you look at some of these photos, you would absolutely believe it, because you're like, whoa, he seems like he is tough. He seems like he is aggressive. But I don't want that to be the thing. Oh, because he's tough and aggressive, that means he's just automatically abusive. Don't do that, right? Don't correlate that just yet. Okay. It's also saying that, he has been mistreating players and the whole thing. And it says that the alleged verbal abused players, he alleged verbally abused players and refused to allow them to take water breaks during hard practices. according to reports by the New York Post. Be careful what you believe with the New York Post. I'm just saying. It says Wagner College has not officially confirmed the allegations, but school officials reportedly received multiple complaints about Copeland, leading to investigation. The culture in the men's basketball program was described by one player as a lot of things done there that aren't normal, while another said that the coach inflicted psychological damage on the team with his conduct. Among the complaints were Copeland not allowing water breaks during their strenuous workouts. If you're thirsty, swallow your spit, a letter from a current player accused the coach of saying. In another instance, a player hid a Gatorade bottle that he could drink from later. The coach found it and made the players run more as a result. You all are going to run until the Gatorade is out of his belly. That's what he allegedly said. It says 2 players passed out due to dehydration, according to the complaint. One of them needed to go to the hospital afterwards. And then it says those tactics allegedly included yelling and telling players that their parents gave birth to kitties. I'm not going to say that the word begins with a P, ends with a Y. And that if they were... I'm laughing at myself because the way I saw it, I was like, well, I can't say that. And that if they were a loser playing for him, you're going to be a loser in life, allegedly. A player from last season's team even went on record to the Post and said that Copeland called him the P word, a B word, a punk, and a vagina. Apparently we can say that here because that's the one that's not bleeped out there at various points. Every day was like war on and off the court. Green said that the Post Zach Brazzlers, we could never just go to him and talk to him, not as a coach for 1 second. It was run like a military base. How y'all know what a military base is run like if you never been on one? Shut your own. Okay. Only 2 players returned to Wagner for this season after last year's team finished 14-16 during Copeland's 3rd season as head coach. And then it goes on and says that Wagner qualified for the 2023 NCAA tournament in Copeland's 2nd season as the Seahawks won the Northeastern Conference tournament and had an automatic bid to the field of 68. Wagner defeated Howard in the first 4 matchup after losing to North Carolina in the first round of the tournament. And of course, I'm not going to read all that, but it says, neither Wagner nor Copeland has, offered comments or said anything to the New York Post. I wouldn't talk to the New York Post either. Why would I talk to the New York Post? You don't trust the New York Post? Allegedly. Let me just say allegedly. Okay. A lot of these athletes would have not made it in the past years of the 60s, 70s, 80s, hell, early 90s, mid 90s, because of the way that language is done. And like I said, they'll be able to tell if the player passed out due to dehydration and had to go to the hospital. That will be on record, right? So if that happened, that's unacceptable. That's very unacceptable. I just want to say that I don't condone that. But I have been a product of coaching where my coach is like, and a lot of times we weren't really thirsty. I'm be honest, we weren't really thirsty. We were just trying to get out of the workout. I ain't gonna hold y'all. So I don't know. I mean, I guess with the current climate of how players are and how sensitive they are. We've seen coaches go off on players and like they're too sensitive. You can't coach them no more. You can't tell them what to do. You tell them to do something, you're abusing them. It's too hard. They don't want to do it. Like we don't. They say, oh, it's run like a military base. First of all, military bases aren't even run like that, so you don't even know. You're just talking out the side of your neck. For one, I'm a military veteran who lived and breathed and worked on a military base. Our base won't run like that. Now, if you would say boot camp, that's totally different. You're talking about military base. You don't even know what you're talking about. So that's one. I knocked off some credibility for that. For that. I knock it off. But the other part of me is like, was it really strenuous? Or y'all just don't like him? Y'all felt like he couldn't tell y'all nothing. I can't make a judgment because I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but I do know me as an athlete myself, as a track athlete, as a cheerleader, as a dancer. We go through these things where I'm in a lot of times, like I said, a lot of times we were trying to get out of the workout. So my coach would take us out there in the heat, and I went to college in North Carolina. So when we, it's August heat, July heat in North Carolina, and we out there, and my coach is like, run the field, the field. You running full times, you running them out. What? And my coach would do that, and we would, coach, we tired, coach, we can't breathe, coach, we need some water. And we was lying. We was cool, we was good. So like, I know both sides. I can feel both sides, So I couldn't coach high school girls no more because, child, you couldn't tell them nothing. You tell them, come to practice with your black shirt on, they come to practice with your gold shirt on, and you tell them to run an extra 2-3 laps around the gym. They tell their parents that you didn't abuse them and told them they was stupid and dumb and that they couldn't cheer no more. You're like, what the? Hold on, I didn't say none of that. I just said run two extra laps because you're in the wrong. So again, I don't really know because I understand both sides. I see both sides, right? And is there video footage? Can we see video of him doing this? Can we get more than just are the other coaches saying this? Because right now it sounds like there's 2, maybe 3 players who obviously say none of them came back. So okay, none of them came back. Cool, whatever. We don't know if that is the reason why they came back, but I don't know. I feel like I need more evidence. Before we just say it's rightfully abusive. Now, if he was yoking was up by the throat and slam you into the locker and stuff like that. Yeah, I could definitely, I wouldn't be on that side. I wouldn't be on that side of saying, okay, I need more evidence. But, we've seen time and time again where it's like, I need more evidence before I say that the guy is abusive or not. I just do. I can't actually say that. And again, this is an investigation, so I'm not going to give any more of my opinion necessarily. But again, this is my opinion. I read to y'all what the allegations are. I gave y'all my opinion of why I need more information because I cannot just take things at face value like that. I just cannot. And as a person who's been in a situation that was like that, where I had people just saying things that I said or saying things that I did and I actually did not do them and I had to defend myself, I know how that feels. So I cannot just say I'm on the side of the students. I just know that the climate that is in today, things have changed dramatically. Things have changed abruptly. Things have changed so much where you really can't even say things to players. You really can't, you can't condemn them for doing wrong things. If they show up late, you just got to let it fly. And it's like, there is no discipline, and that's part of the problem, which is going to be a touch point, and when I touch on later when I talk about Tua in a couple slides. But, we'll keep an eye on this and see what really goes down and what they really come from that. If they have video evidence, even phone calls and stuff like that, I would like to see that before I make it an official, judgment on what the heck he was doing and why the heck he was wrong for it. But our last coach up here, which him and the other coach look alike. I'm not even going to hold y'all. It took me 20 minutes to figure out which coach was which, because I thought I was crossing the photos. But this guy is from Wofford. Okay? And he has had 6 players reinstated who are ruled ineligible for receiving improper benefits. Okay? So he and his staff allegedly were given benefits that were, they said you're gonna do that. But it gets sticky, right? It gets sticky because it's like, okay, wait a minute. If we're doing the NIL thing and we can pay them now, we can give them things like, like I said, the NCAA is trying to set the pavement, but obviously what they were offered and what came of that was nothing major because they've now been reinstated. And it's like, okay. But basically it says that the 6 men's basketball players were briefly deemed ineligible for using on-campus meal plans while living off-campus have been reinstated. The school, y'all mad because they want to eat. Oh my God. coaches probably like, go eat. Okay. Petty, y'all broke like that? They live on campus so they can have a meal plan. They playing for the school, bruh. They need food. Okay, but it says, the school's attorney stated the players were reinstated as of September 19, 2025, following the initial report of their ineligibility, which began, so that was literally 2 days later, which began on September 17th. The NCAA stated it did not suspend the athletes and clarified that such minor violations are typically self-reported by schools and can be resolved quickly. The players were declared ineligible by Wofford for receiving impermissible benefits by using on-campus meal plans while living in off-campus apartments. The value of those benefits were reported between, y'all not even believe this. The benefits were reported to be between $84 and $108. Send them to me. I'll give them the money. I will give them the money. Are you serious? So the school... Okay, let me read a little bit more. All right. Obviously they reannounced it on the social media page as of September 20th, noting that the players, the players were ineligible, but they are not suspended. This incident occurred in the same month. Wofford fired its head coach, Dwight Perry, and associate head coach, Tyser Anderson. The players have asked for the coaches to be reinstated and have indicated that they may enter the transfer portal if the coaches were not reinstated. I guess this is the coach. I guess this is the coach here, and I guess he's not been fired. So I guess that's why I was having a hard time finding the photos. Okay, cool. It don't actually say why the coaches were fired, but So they're ineligible, right? But they're not suspended, and it's not by the NCAA. But this to me is petty. It's petty and dumb. To me. Please understand this is my opinion. Okay? So in my opinion, I think this is petty and dumb. And in most cases, your athletes, majority of them, Wofford may be a smaller school. I'm not really sure how big Wofford is. I know it's, So even if it's small and your athletes have to live off campus, they're living in off-campus housing or whatever, you're upset that they're eating in the cafeteria so they can't have a meal plan. So they're supposed to get their own food. But isn't the athletic program supposed to supply them with some type of something? I just don't understand. Like, do you want them to win or not? Do you want them to play or not? Because this is what it's given. It's given you don't want them to play. You don't want them at the school. Especially for something as small as $84. Put the $84, the $100, whatever, put it on a student account. Put it on a goddamn student account. And let it go. And if it's only between $84 and $108, that's not giving me that they was eating up all year. That's not giving me that they was abusing the system. Come on. $84? You mean to tell me you don't want y'all suspended, y'all ineligible, y'all all of that for $84? Well, for real, y'all should be ashamed. Y'all should want to feed them athletes. Y'all should want to feed them players. Do you know that you could have called up a couple parents and say, hey, the athletes don't have no food or whatever? You could have called up a couple boosters and say, hey, the athletes need food and groceries so they don't be malnourished, so they can make it through the workouts, so they won't be crying like they're doing in Wagner, and saying they're getting abused because they're not eating. And can y'all supply 6 players with $100? Can y'all give us $600 so they can eat? $600 so we can pay the cast? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Y'all bugging. I think it's petty. I think it's stupid, and join a transfer portal. Go ahead and leave. Go somewhere else where they'll feed you happily. They'll let you go in the caf whatever time you want to go up in there. If you winning and you playing for that school, go ahead. Go eat. You know, them little lunch days, them sweet lunch days when I went to college, they was sweet. They was sweet, nice, lovely ladies. They gave me all types of... You want seconds? Yeah, you make friends when they give you all the food that you want. Okay? Our last topic, and this is NBA. So the start of the, NBA season going into preseason, Russell didn't have no job. He had no home. But now he do. He is signing a 1-year deal with the Sacramento Kings. And I know a lot of people are like, this is a horrible idea. He's coming into his 18th season. And, they just got a whole bunch of unks over there playing on the team. You got a lot of 30 and up players over there. And, they were on a nice, good run. And then last season, they kind of tanked a little bit. And they're like, oh, this season, they're really going to tank. And I think they're just in the process of rebuilding. I think they're in the process of like, okay, he's on a 1-year deal. So we're trying to, get our trade, our trade value up. We're trying to get some veterans in here that we could possibly trade out. And then, what can we get in return? It's all about capital and basketball capital and all of that. So if y'all can get us to where we need to be, there's a player going on player option. I think Rosen is going to be a free agent. So when Russell's going to be, his deal's going to be done after the year. So it's like they're just trying to start up and try to be, try to figure out how can we start our rebuild to, get some younger players in here. Obviously, maybe not this season, but next season to really like kick things into gear. So that's only, that's how I see it. I don't want to say it's a bad or negative thing. I mean, I don't know. I thought Russell did great in Denver. I liked him in Denver. But obviously, time's up, time's up, time's up. So when time's up, you got to go. Okay? But he will be in a black and purple jersey this season. I feel like he's been everywhere. I feel like he has been everywhere with everyone. But when you've been in the game so long, for 18 years, him, the Draymonds, the LeBrons, the Stephs, they've been in the league for so long. It's like I know it's kind of stuff. It's like I'm not ready to see, them go. KD, another one, they've been in the league for so long. You want to continue to see them have great success. So I am rooting for Uncle Russ when he goes and plays for the Kings. I don't watch a lot of Kings basketball, but maybe I'll turn it on this season to watch him do his thing. All right? Boom. We are almost done with our topics here, people. Thank y'all for coming in and dropping in. I only have 3 more left. All right. Going into football. So Indiana said we are all in. They said we are all in. On Siggy, we're all in. Yes. They have now announced that there is a new 8-year, $93 million contract for Coach Cignetti. And I've seen some people that are like, whoa, this is a bad idea. 8 years, it's a long time, it's a large buyout, whatever. And, he said he wants to retire as a Hoosier. He wants to retire. In Indiana. He loves Indiana. This is where he wants to be. This is where he's given his time to. This is where he said we didn't come this far just to come this far. And right now, Indiana is looking great. They've been rebuilding for the past couple seasons, and now you're getting to see like Indiana right there in top 3. So they have a really great program going on right now. So I think that obviously this is the school investment in him to let him know like, hey, we believe in you. We see what you're doing. We like what you're doing. We like where you're going. We've seen the progress over time. And we want to reward you with that. We want you to stay. We want you to be here. We want you to be our guy. You are our guy. But please make no mistake that if he becomes not the guy, they're going to do him just like they did James Franklin over there, and they'll boot his ass on out. So I think that's just depending on him and what he wants to do and how much success he can continue to bring over the next 8 years. He is, I think, 64 years old, so he'll be coaching well into his 70s, and I think he'll be there probably until he's about 75 or so, and that's probably when he's going to retire, because it ain't coming at 65. He's going to keep coaching until he can't coach no more. Now, he looks actually really good to be 64 years old, so I tease to him. Okay? Tease to him. But, they decided they wanted to go all in, and they really wanted to show he's the guy. Indiana, you have your guy. So I don't know. how you feel about this? Is it a yes, no, maybe so? Is it a we don't really care? Is it a he'll be there for the 8 years, but the program may not be as great? I mean, it would be really major if, they keep it up, they get into the college football playoffs, they at least make it past that first round. Well, yeah, they make it past that first round, and they get into like one of the bowls. I don't know. I think Indiana looks great so far from what I can see, and I think he'll be here for some time. It's my man on that. Okay. Tua turn the ball over. Yes, Tua turn the ball over. Just kidding. Tua. Now, I thought I was going to, I'm not going to. Okay. So Tua apologizes to the Dolphins and his teammates and everything. You're probably like, well, what did he do? He's apologizing for losing? A lot of times, though, the past, like, I would say, the past 2 games, I don't think I've ever fully blamed Tua, but I don't think it was Tua's fault. The last 2 games, I do not think they were Tua's fault as to why they lost. Last game, they lost 29-27. And obviously he goes in and he apologizes and he says, my comments were obviously detrimental to the team and me being a leader. I got to watch what I say and how I say things and how I come across. I got to be mindful of my teammates. And I know I shouldn't have said those things, but really he said it because that's what he felt. But he was like, the game, losing the game, it kind of got to me, and I got into my feelings a little bit, and I just basically came off and said what I said. He goes on to say, I've talked to my coaches, I've talked to the players, and they understand and know where my heart is, and they just know that, coming over and getting over this defeat and being that our team sucks right now, starting 1-5 is just not somewhere that I want to be. It's not somewhere that they want to be. It's not something that where I see us being, and us going through this hard patch is really just like unbelievable to me, and I cannot believe that we're here. Now, mind you, I thought that the comments were something bad, right? I thought the comments were kind of bad, but to me, I thought the comments that he was going to say was kind of bad until I read them, and I read them like. They're mad because he called them out and he's trying to hold them accountable, in my opinion. I'm going to read y'all the comments because I was like, wait a minute. If he's saying it, it's because that's what's going on. He's saying it because that's what's really happening. That's what's really going on. Y'all want to sit here and make it seem like y'all doing all that y'all need to do in order to be the team that y'all want to be, and y'all not. And I understood that, right? I understood exactly where he was coming from, right? So it says right here, shortly after Miami's 29-27 loss on Sunday, Tua came in and, was asked how players would refrain from feeling sorry for themselves after a 1-5 start. He said that the team's player leadership needed to be clearly defined in terms of expectations for the rest of the team, and that those expectations needed to be met. I agree there. I agree. Your leadership needs to define the expectations for this team, and those expectations need to be met. That's common sense. I don't think there's nothing wrong there. Okay. Then he goes to say, we have guys showing up to players-only meetings late. Guys not showing up to players-only meetings. At all. They're not showing up, right? Then he says there's a lot that goes into that. Do we have to make this mandatory? Do we not have to make this mandatory? It's a lot of things of that nature that we've got to get cleaned up, and it starts with little things like that, right? And then Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniels on Monday said that Tua's comments were misguided and were made in an inappropriate form. Okay, cool. Maybe they were in an inappropriate form. They were after in pregame, but that's his opinion. He was asked a question, and I think he gave the best answer that he could give at the time, in my opinion. Could he have said, oh, we shouldn't feel sorry for ourselves because, what was we're doing our best, we're fighting our hardest, we're going out there each and every week, and we're almost there, we're getting close to, a win, but we just have to keep fighting for it every single day. That's the most generic, corny, liar answer there is. Calling a spade. He's calling out the BS. We don't need to feel sorry for ourselves because we, as ourselves, are not even taking this seriously. Y'all not showing up to meetings. Y'all being late to meetings. The leadership is not defining the expectations. So what are we doing here? Are we supposed to be, is it mandatory? Is it not mandatory? We not showing up. We can be so much better in terms of our discipline, but it starts with little things like that. And maybe he could have threw that word in there, like, we can become more disciplined. And how do we become more disciplined? Is by making sure that we're continuing to show up and being on time and being full in and being, and making sure that we're continuing to give our all and give all of our energy toward this team so that we can start to turn around this season. Sure, that would have been a great answer too. But the thing is, he's holding them accountable. He's holding them accountable. And I would have hoped that Mike McDaniel would have gotten on that podium and would have said, although I think Tua's comments were maybe in the, improper form and maybe it shouldn't have happened in post game, but I do respect the fact that he wants to hold him and his teammates accountable. He wants to hold us all accountable. The team leadership needs to be held accountable to get this team to turn things around, for the rest of the season. I feel like there's a lot of turmoil going on in Miami right now. And there's a lot of misconstrued things going on. There's no discipline going on over there. And it's like, you get upset that he's trying to hold people accountable. He's calling out what he's seeing. If y'all not showing up to these meetings, if y'all are not being all in, if y'all attitude and y'all mindset is not in the right place, you can't feel sorry for yourself that we are 1-5 or they are 1-5. If I'm speaking like I'm Tua, you cannot feel sorry for yourself because you are not showing up when you were supposed to show up. You are not giving it your all. You are not putting in the work to be where you need to be for us to not be 1-5. And again, this is me. If I was Tua, this is what I'd be saying. This is how I feel. Clearly, that's how he felt. That's what he said. And of course, they asked other people like the defensive tackle, well, everybody has the right to their opinion. Yeah, everybody does have the right to their opinion, and y'all need to be held accountable. Y'all 1-5, bruh. Y'all act like y'all good. Y'all ain't good. And y'all not good because obviously y'all not doing what y'all need to do. And I've had great things to say about Mike McDaniel as the head coach, but I've seen him lately on that podium, and he seems misguided and shovel-brained and disorganized, and he seems like he's just either not there or somewhere else, or he's just like frustrated and he can't get his words out. He's stumbling and mumbling and fumbling over the words. Like, what is you saying? What is you doing? If this is what they're getting, then I can absolutely see why Tua said what he said. A lot of y'all is just soft. Y'all soft and don't want to be held accountable. You need to be held accountable for your actions. Period. You're a professional athlete. You're getting paid to show up. This is your job. This is your job. Show up and do your job. The Miami standard should be the Miami standard. And whatever that standard is, it need to be defined and then it needs to be met. That should be the expectation. Period. So I'm on Tua's side with this. I feel like I understand why he apologized because he had to. He's a leader of the team and everything. But I'm on his side when it's like, maybe if I say something, then maybe somebody will start holding ourselves accountable. Because right now we're not accountable of nothing that we're doing up in here. The team is not at a headspace to where we're playing like a really good cohesive team. We're just not. And I understood that. So I'm on Tua's side for once. For once. I can't even believe I'm saying this. For once, I am on Tua's side. I don't know what y'all think about it. Let me know what y'all think about it, but I said what I said. And on the last note here, y'all know I be dragging Caleb Williams. I'm not any, I don't shy away from that. I really don't. And I've given him praise and I've given him, side eyes and critiques. I've talked about him, good, bad, and the ugly. But he said, bear down. I don't care what none of y'all got to say. I don't care about none of y'all and the outside critics. I don't care about it. I could care less. That's what he said. I could care less. And this is coming after they beat Washington by 1. I believe it was, what, 20, was it 24-25 or 25-26? No, it might have it in the article. Let me see. Yeah, what I'm not doing is reading all that. No, I can't remember, but they beat Washington by 1 point. And, there was some, commentators and saying, that the Bears got lucky or whatever. And in this, I also agree with Caleb. He says, we win, we lose. People have stuff to say. It was lucky. It was not lucky. People have stuff to say. You have a bad game, have a good game. People have stuff to say. It doesn't matter. We're only worried about what's going on here within this building with these guys. That's all I can say about that. And I feel like I'm with him. I'm with them because, as y'all know, it don't matter. Good, bad, or the ugly, people are always going to have something to say. If they got lucky or not, who cares? I thought a win was a win. Okay, he didn't have his best game, but didn't play, to the point where he needed to play. He wasn't as accurate as y'all wanted him to be. Okay. Whoop-de-doo. It don't matter. They won. They're building off of some great momentum. They came in there, and at the end of the day, they did get the job done. If Chicago got lucky, Washington just got unlucky. That's just where it is. So I applaud him for just saying it. I could care less about what people have to say because I'm not focusing on that. If he focuses on every time somebody has something to say about him, he's going to run himself into the ground. And I don't think he's ever been like that. He's never been a person who's worried about what the naysayers have had to say. He doesn't really care. He wants to play football, wants to do his job, he wants to get better, he wants to grow, and he has been doing exactly that. So I'm also on his side when it comes to that. Leave him alone. Say whatever you want to say, but stop trying to get a reaction out of him. Because you're not going to get the reaction that you think that you're going to get. So cool. Whoop-de-doo. The Bears beat the Commanders. Period. Word to Caleb. Bear down. Corny, right? I know. But I'm on the side with that. And it's very rarely that I'm ever on the side of Caleb Williams. And y'all knew that. Y'all knew that. But leave these players alone. Leave them alone. Okay? Leave them alone. But anyway, that is the end of my show. Thank you so much. I got to get up out of here. I'm hot. I'm sweating. These lights are so hot on me. I'm already just not feeling that great. So I'm going to get out of here. I've already talked longer than I wanted to talk. But please make sure you're hitting that like button. Please make sure you're subscribing. Please make sure you're hitting your bell notification so your bell notification is on so you know when I will be going live. I'm supposed to be coming on here tomorrow for Friday Night Lights. We will see how I am feeling because I am very much still under the weather and I'm trying to rest so I can be good to go for Saturday. But please make sure you're rewatching all the videos. Give them a like. Follow me on all social media platforms at Pretty Girls Love Sports or at PG Love Sports. I love you guys for all that you do. Thank you for always being here with me. Whether you come in, you drop out, whether you watch it later, or whether you're, whatever you do, I really appreciate you. So I will see you guys on the next one. Bye. Bye.